Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of B is for Build. We're back in the shop. We're back at home base. It feels good to be back. And the BRZ is here with us. The tow truck company did a great job of just setting it right in the middle of the driveway. A plus to them. So, let's get out there. Let's get to work on this car. Let's get it fixed today, hopefully, and get it back on the road. Stay tuned. Alright, one of the first things we're going to want to do is verify that it's still broken, that it wasn't a heated up and then the car breaks type of thing. So, hit this button right here. And the car's running great. Yikes. So we have some form of an intermittent problem. Damn it. I was actually really hoping that it would just still be broken. Now I don't know how we're gonna figure out the problem. Notice the air-fuel ratios. Completely out of whack here. I hate intermittent problems. They're so much harder to figure out. Dang it. Took a lot of effort to get this little guy. I had to order it 2 weeks ago and it's finally here. It's a new MAF. So that's the first thing I want to test. We're gonna take the old MAF out, put the new MAF in. If you guys remember, the second we got this thing, it didn't even work the first time we got it. So I have hopes that maybe this is all MAF related.
Is math related to science?
Maybe this is all MAF related. Maybe once this thing got a little heated up, you know, is in that pipe, blah, 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 things get warm and it craps out on us. It's a possibility. Kind of. So if we replace this and then our air-fuel ratios are just like dialed, we'll know that that was the problem. New MAF, old MAF. Wide band AF, come on. It sounds rich still. Why you run so rich, car? Well, new MAF didn't have much to do with it. See, it's working its way up here. It's doing the auto correction, and this is essentially how we drive around all the time, is the car's auto correcting itself back into running well, and then when we get into boost, it can't use those auto corrections that it made, and we get way too much fuel. Is that part of the underlying problem of why the car died? I'm not really sure, but it's something we should definitely figure out. So, air, spark, fuel. It's time to start thinking about these things. Alright, I moved the car into the shop. I found something while I was outside though, and I want to see if I can recreate it. So, I was looking at the ECU. I got a fault code for ECU, circuit malfunction, and igniter. And so the igniter's right here. Let's see if I can repeat this process. I basically, oh, you hear that stuttering? I basically touched these wires in one weird way or another. And the car stops. I think I found the problem. One of the problems. It doesn't really explain the air-fuel ratio, but it does explain why we're dying. So it's wiring time. Also means it was my fault. Whatever. Quick progress update. This may sound like a bad thing, but I think it's actually a good thing, is we got to a point where the car won't start anymore. I moved around enough of those wires and jostled and did different things enough to the point where it was like, I'm done, I'm not gonna start anymore. So I've been going through and looking at anything that looks suspect and upgrading it and rewiring it and doing different stuff. So you see me working over there and over here. The relay box, been splitting things off onto their own fuse, their own relay, and running back, mainly the different power lines that go to the ECU. So I'm gonna be upgrading the power and the ground of the ECU. And then we're also looking for what's causing that thing. So it's obviously bad that the car doesn't start, but I know it's in that wire loom, and I'll find it and we'll fix it, and then we'll know that when I fix it, that was actually the issue. So that's good. So I'm just gonna continue cracking away at it and upgrading everything that I see that might be that could use a little upgrade. Well, I figured it out. It's just one of those things. It's like, I thought this might be the case. I kept working on and I never looked back. I didn't worry about it. Anyways, notice I'm gonna put this right here. That's gonna give it a nice ground connection. Not a nice one, a decent one. So the igniter's right there. That manages the spark and everything else. 2 clicks to that bad boy. Push to start. Engine's on. And when I remove this from ground, engine's off. That thing was just zip tied dangling down there by some fuel lines. I don't know how it ever worked. Theoretically should have never worked, but these screws were meant to go into a body mount and ground this thing off. Sorry, these aren't screws clearly, but you know what I mean. These mounting brackets were meant to mount to the body of the car. Damn, I wish I would have known that earlier. Okay, let's do it right. All right, I believe she is repaired. What did we do? Well, we took the igniter and mounted it to ground a bunch. Also grounded out a couple other things with dedicated grounds just in case we had grounding issues. Also sent more power around the way over to the ECU in case it needed more power. And then I also doubled up the power connections going to our fuse box. So I kind of reinforced a lot of the power that looked like it may be like getting overloaded. Also added grounds and added power on this side as well. So we should be good to go. Let's start up, take it for a drive. All right, well, slowly cruising along through town. Everything seems to be good, but I haven't gotten it into boost yet. So let's see what it's gonna do when we get into boost, if it's gonna run rich or not. Yeah, still same old problems there. Running rich, a little bit of a weird throttle cutout. Doesn't seem to have any relationship to the problem that we just solved. Kind of a bummer, but I've got an idea for that. Rough transition, back at the shop. So yeah, I do have a plan for all of that. So obviously running rich is like, you know, the mixture that you got is air, fuel, and spark. Well, it's just basically air and fuel, and you need to have spark to blow them up. And so there's a problem in one of those things, right? Either the spark plugs aren't all firing, the air, we replaced the MAF, so that kind of eliminates, and it's acting the exact same way, so that should basically eliminate the air being metered incorrectly. The O2 sensor, the lower O2 sensor is able to make the auto correction to get the car back to Stoich, which is the correct air-fuel ratio. So I think that makes me think it's working correctly as well. So my solution to that is just gonna be to upgrade everything and see where we land. We're gonna do single turbo, big injectors, piggyback ECU, and that will eliminate a lot of things. Like what I think it is, honestly, is bad injectors. I think the injectors are old and worn out, and the fuel pump is pumping extra pressure that the car is not used to, and it's giving it too much fuel. That's my guess, can't be sure. It could be the fuel pressure regulator as well, don't really know. But anyways, so we're gonna do stage 1 power upgrades, and that's what I'm gonna talk about in the very next episode. I'm gonna talk you guys through the whole upgrade plan for this engine and how we're gonna get to 500 wheel horsepower gracefully. So that's it. I'm super happy we fixed the car today. One side note, when I did pull up to the car, I started wiggling a couple wires around and the engine cut out one more time, and I was like, oh great, I never fixed the problem. And then I noticed that one of the plugs, the entire plug on the ECU, a very important plug, was loose. So I clicked it back in, drove the car around for another half an hour, and everything is perfect. So it could have been the entire time that that plug was loose, and then that lost the ground that the igniter needed. It's possible that the igniter didn't need to ground, but then when we grounded that out, it actually linked the whole system together. It's possible, it's unlikely, but it is a possibility, so I'm just saying it could have all been caused by a loose plug in the ECU. People have mentioned, you know, mount the ECU inside. That would mean cutting every single wire from every single sensor on the engine harness and running another wire. So that's like running like 65 wires in a whole new bundle into the engine bay. At that point, might as well build a new wiring harness and then go standalone and all that stuff. So that's why I haven't done that, and that's why it lives right there, because that's the only place that the wires can reach. Anyways, We fixed it. It's back. It's alive. Tomorrow will be a quick episode talking about the stage 1 power upgrades and how we're going to get to that 500 wheel horsepower. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to help out and support, head over to bsforbuild.com. Scroll down to the shop. Pick up any of the merch there. All of that, the proceeds go directly towards supporting my karate lessons and B is for Build and keeping the show running. And if you want to find us, pick your favorite social media outlet and we are B is for Build on there. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, see you tomorrow. Please remember to like and subscribe. Peace!